Woo! Here we go again. We're off and riding. Here we go. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to mount up and saddle up and get this college football invasion started or what? Because I am. We already got a few people up in here already with Slobberknocker and Thunder OU. Basically, I mean, his name says it all. Slobbering over the thumbnail. Figured y'all like that because there's a lot of people that are literally ass out in college football today. First, as you know, Alabama, my team. I ain't trying to brag on them or nothing, but, you know, not trying to be too cocky, but we got a special guest tonight. As you can tell right here, it's Rocky Balboa. Rocky says, hey, yo, college football. Alabama is taking everybody's shit. Because not only has Alabama taken the head coach of the runner-up for the national championship, but they took Ryan Grubb, their offensive coordinator, as well as Courtney Taylor, who's like their director of player personnel or something like that. I may not have the terminology right on the title, but he's the guy that built their team. But now they're taking other head coaches. That's right. Not just Kalen DeBoer, but they went down to Mobile, Alabama, and took Kane Womack off of South Alabama to be their defensive coordinator. Not a head coach, a defensive coordinator. And he was doing pretty good at South Alabama. It wasn't like his job was on the line or anything. Hell, South Alabama just upset Okeechobee State in Stillwater this past year. And they ain't just upset them, they beat them 26-7. You know, the team that was the runner-up to the Big 12 championship. So, but not only that, it looks like Alabama may be in the running for yet another head coach, and that is the head coach of Buffalo. They said that the head coach of Buffalo, I'll bring it up for you guys right now, but before I get to that, we got some more people popping up in here. It's Lloyd Brogdon and Mary Caroline in the house. Kane Reed is up in here with his balls. He says, my balls is here. Fred Bagley's in the house. He says, hey, Outlaw and the posse. By the way, Fred Bagley reminds me that we do have the Four Horsemen shout-out that I'm going to start doing on here as well. The Four Horsemen shout-outs go to Fred Bagley, Sean James, Justin Goss, and Mike Happy are the Four Horsemen shout-outs of the day. And if you want to get your Four Horsemen shout-out like Fred Bagley and others, as you can see, Fred has his badge. He's been deputized a long time ago. It's just $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. So a join button next to the subscribe button. And if you're on an Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or computer, but that's just 75 cents a week, as I said, and just a half a bottle of water, right? Storm 4601's in the house as well. He has his badge. He says, hey, what's up? David Orwig's back. Ain't seen David Orwig in a while. Good to see you back, David Orwig. He says, took South Alabama to get defensive players. Smart move on his part. Yeah, you're right about that, David Orwig. Caleb Downs is in process of deciding whether he wants to enter the transfer portal. Rumor has it that he may be going to Georgia because that's where Travaris Robinson went, who actually, I think, recruited Caleb Downs to come to Alabama. And now he's the co-defense coordinator at Georgia. I think they got like 3 co's out there. I'm not a big fan of the whole co-coordinator titles. I know Oklahoma's doing it right now, and I'm trying to insult y'all. I'm just saying that I'm not a real big fan of that. To me, that's too many Chiefs in the teepee, right? By the way, Fred, if you look down here at the bottom of this screen, after the VIP donors go by, you'll see your name down there as well. The Four Horsemen shout-outs of this podcast are at the bottom of the screen, as well as my sponsors and whatnot. And I'll talk about them later, because I already advertised my Outlaw Posse membership. But we may have some guests in here later tonight. I may bring in Killer Breeze. I may bring in Mike Wilkerson to talk about his new podcast that he's trying to get off the ground. He's almost up to 100 subscribers. He's over at Sooners Legend Podcast. Sooner Ross is in the house. He says it's OCF time. Yeah, you're damn right. It's some Sooner Ross time, too. It's some Mark Hampton, Fred Bagley, Kane Reed, Jeff Payton, David Orwig, the Bagman. It's all y'all's time because this is what? This is what? What is this? What is this? I almost had Killer Breeze in here. And now he's gone again. This is the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Well, we've got some Common Joes on here tonight. Maybe even Jonathan Lewis will pop back in here. And maybe this time he won't cut us all off. What do y'all think? Let's see what we got here. See if we can holler at old Johnny Boy. Hopefully he won't come in here and cut us off tonight. What do you think? You think we should give him another chance? What do y'all think? Baker did good last night. I'm real happy, says Lloyd Brogdon. I assume you're talking about Baker Mayfield. They beat the Eagles, and they beat up on another former Oklahoma quarterback, Jalen Hurts. The thing about it is the broadcast people were just talking about Lincoln Riley was there for Baker Mayfield. They did not mention Jalen Hurts not one freaking time, from what I understand. Heath Stokes in the house already with a big $10 donation coming in. What's up, Outlaw? Boomer Center. How about Baker going off last night? Yeah, Lori just brought that up, Heath Stokes. I'm glad to see Baker doing well. Baker deserves it after all the shit that people talked about him. But like I said, I don't understand why they said that Lincoln Riley was there for Baker Mayfield when you had Jalen Hurts, who played under Lincoln Riley too, technically, right? I know, of course, you was talking about Baker Mayfield. By the way, who is that picture, the thumbnail of? I can't remember who sent me that. I think it was either Lori or Mary Caroline, or it might have been Mary Catherine Smith, who's in our chat. It's one of y'all, man. I can't remember. It's a mystery woman in the thumbnail that everybody's slobbering over. Slobberknocker brings up a good subject, and I'm going to bring in Killer Breeze now. How you doing, man? Is your internet giving you fits or something?
Yeah, I got to use my damn phone again. I don't know. Can you hear me all right on my phone? I always worry about the sound when I got to get on this God-blasted phone.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
What's that ugly-ass hat you got on?
Man, I'm not going to have you starting off this way, dissing my people, man, and my colors. Those are your colors, too. You need to be more respectful of that.
I'm trying to figure out. Someone sent me that thumbnail. It was an anonymous donor to the program. They sent me that thumbnail, and I'm trying to figure out whether it was Lori Brogdon, Mary Caroline, or some other anonymous female. Was that one of your girls out there at the RV park?
That seems like a move from Lori Brings the Heat Brogdon.
Yeah, she brought the heat with that ass.
And she can continue to bring that heat as much as she wants.
That's right.
So what's going on, man?
Bagman says you got an LSU hat underneath that hat.
No. There's no LSU underneath this hat. This is all Oklahoma.
I was just talking about Alabama is going out, and not only they're adding new members to their staff, but they're taking other people's head coaches still. They took Kalen DeBoer. Now they took South Alabama's head coach. And now they're in the process of hiring Buffalo's head coach as the defensive line coach. I mean, it's something when Alabama can take head coaches and make them assistants, right? And so he's not even losing. I mean, he's doing real good at South Alabama.
The South Alabama head coach is going to be the DC, right?
That's right. And he's really good with safeties. And I think that was a move to try to keep Caleb Downs, because Caleb Downs, he's a top-notch defensive back or safety. He's a top-notch safety, and it would really hurt if we lost him to Georgia. And there's rumors that he may be transferring to Georgia.
Yeah. Well, I'd be surprised if they don't lose a couple of big recruits. But at the same time, this is a unique situation because Alabama's not just your typical program. So, if they can if the players will stay for the brand and not be too concerned about who the coach is and just have faith in the brand, you'll be fine. And even if you lose a couple, you're still going to be fine.
Yeah, a lot of people's like I said in my little short, gleefully and spastically celebrating the supposed demise of Alabama. I can't blame them. I mean, you got to grasp onto some kind of hope. And Nick Saban being gone might be the only hope they got.
But yeah, well, that's like our boy USCJ, who put a video that's out this morning, who literally said USC has the best defensive line. I mean, best defensive coaching staff ever. You might want to wait until they win a game, game, before you start crowning them the best defensive staff ever.
Did you just say that USCJ is your boy?
I said, that's your boy.
Oh, no.
Come on in. It's the top of the morning.
You said my boy, referring to him as your boy.
Man, ain't my boy.
And if that's true, get him on the show, man. Have him on here. We'll have a debate. We'll have a smack off. We'll see who wins. I'll let y'all judge who wins between me and him.
He'll never do it because he likes to pump that sunshine. He doesn't want to call it like it is. I can't take you seriously if you're going to start talking about USC's defensive staff in any way, shape, or form before they do anything on the field. That's just dumb.
Kane Reed said it was him. It was me, Outlaw. It was me. He sent me that picture of that woman to put up.
That seems about right. What's up, Kane?
I think Kane's lying. I think he sent me the picture of Lincoln Riley with the in the corner up there with the goofy ass unicorn on top of his head.
Man, I can't see. There we go. Now I can see the chat. There we go. So, how many people does Alabama have left to fill that staff? Is that it?
Just about. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. Well, if you see any donations, just let me know.
I will.
I'm off the screen. Yeah, it's the they hired offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who Saban had wanted before he hired Tommy Rees, if you'll remember, and he turned us down. So we got Ryan Grubb, which is a big plus. I mean, he's a great offensive coordinator. Maybe we can keep some of those offensive players from transferring out. And then we got scouting director Jarrett McElwain, wide receivers coach Jamarcus Shepard, tight ends is Nick Sheridan, general manager Courtney Morgan. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but this guy's been known to be able to build programs and help with recruiting and whatnot behind the scenes. Sort of like that guy that y'all had out of Oklahoma. I can't remember his name, though. Who's that guy that y'all had in Oklahoma's director of personnel went to Clemson or some shit?
His name was, oh my God, Thad Turnipseed.
Yeah, that's right. This guy right here is sort of like Thad Turnipseed in a way, I think. And, of course, defensive coordinator Kane Womack, defensive line coach Freddie Roach is a holdover, as well as running backs coach Robert Gillespie, offensive line is Scott Huff, and that's not our athletic director. That's a typo. I think this guy's like the director of sports medicine, Jeff Allen. So they pretty much filled it out. And from what I understand, they might be bringing in, like I said, the Buffalo head coach is a candidate for a defensive line position of some sort. So, but he's not doing well at Buffalo, so that's probably why he's leaving there.
So, man, that's got to be just a little odd looking at that screenshot and letting that sink in that Nick Saban's not the coach anymore, man.
It hurts a little bit, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was, in a way, I was torn. I've been preaching all year that he needs to go out on top for his own good, for his own legacy. But as an Alabama fan, it's starting to hurt a little bit because you got players trying to dip out on us and shit. But that's the way college football is these days. People can take glee in that they won't, but it can happen to you just as easily. It happened to Oklahoma in a very horrendous type way because of the shit that Lincoln Riley pulled. You know, I'll say all along that Lincoln Riley knew he was getting that job way back in probably October.
No, there's no way. Yeah, absolutely. He knew that. He couldn't have pulled it off like he did.
And he undermined the program.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer didn't do that shit. Most coaches don't do that shit. It's just Lincoln Riley.
Well, I noticed in the national media, there's all this sympathy and boo-hooing for Arizona and Jed Fish leaving and taking players with him to Washington, and what poor Arizona. It's just like, hey, 2 years ago in Norman, we lost the Heisman quarterback, a coach that was highly sought after, several other coaches, several other players, major recruits. I mean, where was the sympathy and the sorrow for Oklahoma, when that happened to them? Now everybody wants to cry about Arizona. Boo-hoo, man.
If you just look at the first story that you see, like you're saying, people just run with it. If you go in and you actually look at what went on there, actually Arizona sort of botched that whole deal because Jed Fish asked him to rework his contract way back in the middle of the football season, and they wouldn't even do it. They wouldn't even talk to him about a new contract. I know they're in debt, but damn, football's the big money maker, man. I know they're a basketball school, but I think that they just didn't care enough. Why should he care enough to stay if they don't care enough to even talk about a contract extension?
Absolutely. Listen, if you really care about and this is why, it's not I don't think people really understand the SEC's slogan, which is it just means more. I don't think people understand how literal that is. And if Arizona cared about their program as much as Alabama cares about their program, or as much as Oklahoma cared about its program, you're going to do and on top of that, you think you have a great coach
exactly
that you picked out, then you need to try to keep him.
If you can't keep him, then whose fault is that?
100%.
And I do think just because our people and our alumni care more, and they get mad at the SEC people for saying it means more, but it does mean more down here.
It does mean more, and I do think, in fairness to Arizona, to me it's a lateral move going from Arizona to Washington.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a slap in the face for real. They should be mad at the administration for allowing that shit to happen. What if they were still in the Pac-12? They'd be playing each other next year.
100%. 100%. So they,
But Sooner Ross agrees with us. He says, poor Arizona, my ass. Fred Bagley also with his badge says, yep, Arizona screwed up. So it seems like Arizona's little narrative's not working too much. People are starting to find out the real deal on that. All they had to do was pony up a little bit, like Kilbree said. I mean, they ain't got to come off with a $10 million contract, but at least show the man that you're serious about that program. I mean, hell, he took them to 10-3 or 9-3?
10-3. They went 10-3.
Only their fourth 10-win season in 120 years of football. You can't give them a big contract?
Say that again. How many wins in 120 years? 10-win seasons?
Four 10-win seasons in 120 years.
Man. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I didn't know it was that bad. I thought Arizona was better than that, man. Shit.
Yeah, that's staggeringly low.
Damn, that's almost as bad as Kansas State pre-1990.
Yeah.
And nobody realizes how good of a job that Bill Snyder did. And he absolutely had shit. He ain't had nothing, man. He was like coaching at a junior college when he went in there.
Oh, no, there's no doubt about it, man.
I think Bill Snyder's just as much a legend as Nick Saban and Bear Bryant and Barry Switzer and Bud Wilkinson and all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's David Orwick. Actually, David Orwick just hit on something. I did see it, David. I saw the rant from Oni Kuno, or however he pronounces his name, about the same thing. I thought it was kind of interesting that for someone who I think prides himself on being emotionally mature, he lost his shit. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I've seen that guy's show before, and some Sooner fans, when I first started this, had asked me to try to be on his show or get on his show. And I approached him with that idea, but he just, blew me off. So I'm not going to beg the guy, but I understand that when I've watched him a few times, he seems like a very laid back guy, like you said, like he don't want none of this, you know, he wants to be real pristine. So him dropping F bombs, I didn't see it. But if he's dropping F bombs, man,
Oh, dude,
that's a little bit of a hypocritical look for him, ain't it?
not just an F. I mean, he started dropping F bombs and he never stopped. And he threw in a couple of suck my you know what's
What was he bitching
lick
about?
my hit this and that's and what.
What was he bitching about?
The same thing that everybody's crying for Arizona and nobody cared, about Oklahoma 2 years ago.
Well, that's true. Now I gotta give him that, but you got to be a little more. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't speak on it. I have to take y'all's word on that.
I see Kuz is in the house. He's talking about Onakuno drops F bombs all the time. He may.
We don't really watch
To be
mid-card.
full disclosure here, I don't watch every single video he puts out. I do think he's a reliable source for Oklahoma information, but I don't watch all of his videos.
I don't know. To me, the few times I've watched him, I've never seen him drop F bombs. But if y'all say he does, he does.
Well,
by the way, Kuz's Corner said he can't be on here tonight because he's got to be on this Texas podcast. What do y'all think about that?
The Shorthorns?
Yeah. Just I'm messing with him, but actually I'm telling the truth. He really is going to be on a podcast, some kind of Texas Longhorn podcast tonight.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It hurts, Kuz. It hurts, man. Oh, the Horns Down pod.
That was a Horns Down pod. Oh, so you on another Oklahoma podcast? Well, at least you ain't over there roasting marshmallows with some other jackass that we know.
They don't want none.
Yeah, look at you. Don't come over here trying to steal our people now.
No, that's all right. Kuz is a man in demand. You can't hold that. You can't hold Kuz back. I like it. I think I've seen that show a couple of times. I think I've seen it a few times. It's a good show.
I'm gonna bring up something for you real quick. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it now. I can't read it though.
Yeah, you probably can't read it. It's Jim Harbaugh. It says 1 week after leading his alma mater to its first national championship since 1997, the Wolverines coaches engaged with university leadership in talks regarding a contract extension, with Harbaugh angling for a clause that would grant him, listen to this, grant him immunity from termination from any sanctions from the NCAA investigation. It sounds like a guy that feels a little guilty of something, right?
Oh my God.
Does they not sound guilty to you? Hey, if
wow.
that happens, I want immunity from being fired. Well, obviously you've done something wrong then, you lying jackass.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What kind of person is worried about securing immunity? Who does that?
I've never seen that before, man.
I think that's the sign of a guilty man.
That's
guilty.
That's what Barry Switzer should have done, man. He should have said, hey, y'all going to give me immunity from this NCAA shit so I can stay here at Oklahoma and make sure we transition right when it goes to Bob Stoops. That way, Barry Gibbs shit and John Blake shit never happens if NCAA don't come in there and just randomly punish people. They have no rhyme or reason when they do this shit. That's why I get pissed off at them, man. They'll punish the hell out of somebody like Oklahoma and Alabama, and then they'll let Miami get away with a Ponzi scheme and all sorts of crazy shit.
That what they did to us in the late 80s, that was a political witch hunt. I'm not even kidding. They thought Oklahoma was getting too big for college football and out of control, and they thought they were going to teach Oklahoma and the rest of the country a lesson, and they used us as a. I mean, dude, that what they did to us was harsh, man. I mean, bowl games and scholarships galore.
Yeah, they
dude,
got us
for
pretty
years.
good team. If you'll remember, Thomas Yeager, the guy who was ahead of the investigation for Alabama in the early 2000s, said we were standing around the barrel of the gun, like SMU style. They tried to bury us, man, for some shit that Tennessee was already doing, and Tennessee and Phil Fulmer done a quid pro quo with them. But what's so odd about that is both Alabama and Oklahoma, after receiving that kind of punishment, righted the ship and won national championships. Oklahoma won a national championship after all that shit. Took them a little while, but they got back on track with Bob Stoops. And Alabama did the same thing with Nick Saban.
Yeah. No, that's right. You know, and then you have someone like SMU who's still recovering. I mean, they're finally kind of back, but they're still not anywhere close to where they were. SMU, dude, was a perennial top 5, player for a few years.
They were.
They were legit. They had real talent. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like some Cinderella story one year, like a Cincinnati or shit like that. They were legit. Eric Dickerson and Craig James were light Pony Express.
If y'all don't mind, could you jump out of the chat and smash the like button?
Oh, I need to do that myself, actually.
If y'all just jump out for about 5 seconds, smash the like button, it'll push the algorithm, and we'll get more people up here and get this party crunk up a lot higher. We're almost at 30 people already early on. We got some good numbers going. Like to get up to about 50 or 60 in here. Also, if you want to get your comment highlighted like Keith Stokes did earlier and get it pushed to the top and want us to respond to you and answer your questions, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom that's circled. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send, and we'll get to it as soon as we can.
Yeah, and I agree, Jeff Payton. They will never be where they were in 1983. But, man, should they have been punished as hard as they – I mean, who really lost? Was it SMU fans the only ones that lost, or did college football lose as a whole? Because in my mind, the more good programs you have at one time, it's better for everyone. All ships rise with the tide.
They didn't have to kill SMU's programs.
No.
They could have given like more probation, more bowl bans.
Was SMU
what they done was like just basically cost them about 20 or 30 years of football.
Was SMU doing anything that's being done legally now?
That's exactly right. But to back up to this again, man, I've never seen a contract say that before, where you can have immunity from any termination without having any moral turpitude clause, man. That's like a staple of every contract. If Michigan signs on for that, man, they're just basically allowing Harbaugh to just run rampant, man, and just do whatever he wants to do, right?
Does that mean that he's not going to the NFL if he's worried about keeping his job with a immunity clause?
I think it does, man. I think he's bluffing. I think that maybe the NFL job's not there for him, and he wants to come back. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it just seems to me that you wouldn't be concerning yourself with potentially getting terminated if you weren't planning on coming back. I mean, why would you worry about it? You're going to the NFL. Who gives a shit if Michigan fires you?
Well, his buyout is very small considering what most buyouts are. It says here it's $2.25 million, and then goes down to $1.5 million on January 11th, which is already passed. So his buyout's only $1.5 million.
No, well, I mean, that's nothing. I mean, that's almost zero in all practical purposes for the university. Even $2 million, they don't.
Says here at the end that an unusually coach-friendly job protection clause for Harbaugh designs at Michigan has come under fire from the NCAA for 2 separate transgressions. If Michigan does that, man, wouldn't that sort of be like something the NCAA might frown on?
Absolutely.
I mean, I would be more inclined to give them bowl bans and shit if they're going to do shit like that.
Absolutely.
Like they're making their own rules as they go or some shit.
Well, I mean, man, it's going to be funny to see what happens. I mean, it's not like this is over, So Michigan has the national championship, but will they have it 5 years from now? I mean, those are legitimate concerns you should have if you're a Michigan fan. And legitimate outcomes that could happen.
Jeff Payton agreed with you. He said college football lost because the NCAA destroyed the SMU program. You may have already called that comment out. I can't remember.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. SMU was a fun team to watch back in the early 80s, man.
And just like Mark Hampton said, Jimmy Johnson ran a gang at Miami, and yet they were never punished. You know why? Because they're good for business. These small town colleges like college towns like Norman and Tuscaloosa don't really bring the kind of eyeballs big markets like Miami does, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
They would prefer that the big, but what they don't understand is, like I've told people before, man. Yeah, we got small towns, but our alumni base and fans are all over the country and around the world. And they fly into these games. People at USC make excuses because they can't sell out their football stadium. And they got 2 million people in their backyard. And yet we can sell our games out. They try to play the card of, well, y'all ain't got nothing to do. Sure we do. We got alumni that live in Boston, Massachusetts that could probably go to a New England Patriots game or something. And they choose to come down here.
That's correct. That's one of the things it's one of the reasons why Bama's a blue blood, man. They're not just a regional brand. They're a national brand.
I don't think we're just a blue blood. I ain't trying to be cocky, but I think we're more of a gold standard sometimes, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, you're sitting on top of the mountain. I mean, there's no doubt about that. What Nick Saban did is, I don't have any doubt that Bama will continue to win national championships. I also think it's highly unlikely that them or anybody else will experience what Nick Saban did at Alabama.
David Org says the immunity from Michigan to retaliate or the NCAA from retaliating. Michigan has no control over what the NCAA can do to Harbaugh. They want to put a show cause on his ass and make it hard on him to recruit. They can damn well do it, whether Michigan likes it or not. It gets me and galls me that Harbaugh thinks he's above the law, man.
Yeah.
Wants an immunity clause now. Like he's some kind of foreign visitor from Saudi Arabia or some shit. Oh, I can come over here and rape and kill and pillage and shit, and y'all can't do nothing to me because I got immunity kind of deal. That's what he's doing in college football, is raping and pillaging it.
100%, man. 100%. What? Well, it's going to be interesting to see, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how Kalen DeBoer does, man. I expect big things out of him at Alabama. I think he's a legit coach, and I don't think Bama's going to fall off very much.
Appreciate the shout out. I am Sooner. Yeah, I said that earlier. If y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat here, smash the like button. It'll push the algorithm, and we'll get more people in this party. And people think that football season's over when the football season's over, but it's not, because college football fans are year round, right?
college football fans now, especially with the advent of the internet, college football is year round. I think it gets, the content. It used to be at certain times during the year, you got no content. You just couldn't, it was just hard to come by. But now they do a pretty good job, man, of finding ways to get you some kind of fresh information all year long. Wasn't always like that. So,
Come out college football.
yeah.
It's a year-round thing now, man. I mean, used to it was more of a regional thing, but now it's become a big business and it's rivaling the NFL.
Yeah. No, it's and now with the players getting paid, it really is just professional college football. So it really, who knows? Maybe it gets even bigger, you know?
Fred Bagley says what Saban did will never be done again. Killer. The talent is going to get spread out.
I agree. I totally agree.
Mark Hampton wants to know where do we think Belichick ends up. I think he retires, and I don't think he coaches again. That's what I think. But he might prove me wrong. He might come back for a few years like the guy at Kansas State did. We just talked about him.
Snyder.
Snyder came back out of retirement. So
the only thing with Belichick that makes me wonder is that he was fighting to stay. You know, he was fighting to stay. So it just makes me think he still wants to coach. And if he still wants to coach, somebody's gonna hire him. I mean, he won't have to wait there.
Hey, look who's here. Look what. He can't come on because
of Mr. Slippy Fingers. Killing the live stream.
That's 3 days in a row.
Can we stay on the air tonight? Is that okay? Is that okay? Can we? I know you can't come on, Jonathan, but can we stay on tonight?
Is it all right if we stay on? I mean, seriously, you think 3 nights in a row that's something to brag about, man? It sounds like you whipped me. It sounds like you're some kind of sex slave or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm Mac Daddy. I'll get it 3 days in a row. All right there, Mac Daddy. And got your ass whipped. Got him a little jungle fever, boy. Now you can't get enough of it.
That's fucking funny, man.
Hey, Jonathan, is it okay if we can we have college football with Jonathan Lewis's girlfriend on here? Can we do that? I mean, you should change the name of it of college football with what's your girlfriend's name, Jonathan? Poor old Jonathan. Then got the whip put on him.
I mean, it happens to the best of us, but it's also,
Yeah, 3 nights in a row, though.
No excuse for just cutting us off last night just because he didn't want to be on the show anymore.
Yeah, they took his ball and went home for real, man. Nobody could play.
Yeah, it was not cool, man. Uncool, man.
It cost me $50, man. I think Jonathan should have to do a donation down here. What do y'all think?
I think he was about to see his woman, so he was greasing up, he was styling up the neck beard, and his fingers got slippy from all that grease, and it just pop, knocked us off the air.
Yeah, like that song that I like to bring up every once in a while. Slip sliding away. Jonathan's manhood slip sliding away. Yeah, Jonathan, you owe me a donation, man. You need to donate something, man. You need to donate something to the program, man, since you screwed down my donations.
I think he needs to throw 50 bones down and match old Heath Stokes.
Yeah, especially with that new job he's got, man.
Yeah, you got yeah. Mr. City Slicker living in San Antonio, running game all the time. You got your player kit on.
Yeah, man. She took
Listening
him.
to a
Hey,
little Albie Shore. I know the type.
and she took him to Las Vegas, man.
What?
Yeah, and she paid for
It's
all of it.
it's a sugar mama on top of all that?
Yeah, sugar mama.
Damn. Hey,
I told you that's why his
I
ass.
bow to his game. Kane, don't take it easy on him. Be safe, Jonathan. Hell with that. Give him hell tonight.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Yep, just like David Orr said, we don't believe you, man.
That's right. David knows what I'm talking about. See, David understands.
He probably got one of them mannequins out of that damn one of them stores or some shit.
What we got?
Wind up something real quick.
Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with some of these fools on the message board.
I'm gonna bring up something real quick for y'all. Real quick, y'all. I know we got a lot of Oklahoma fans in here, but just
Becca Has Thoughts has entered the room, unless she's already been here, and we hadn't seen David in a while.
This is Kane Womack's resume, in case y'all wanted to know. He's odd. He started out as a quarterback coach at UT Martin. How he ended up being a defense coordinator, I don't know. How do you go from being a quarterback coach to being a defense coordinator? But
I mean, Brent. Well, he's never a quarterback's coach, but he plays quarterback and scout when he runs scout. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna fast forward past some of these. As you see, he's got an extensive coaching record here. He was at numerous stops. He's been with Kalen DeBoer at a few of these stops. He was at Indiana when they built Indiana back up briefly, and then when Kalen DeBoer and all those guys left, Tom Allen at Indiana just started tanking it. So I guess we can see who was really holding Indiana up during their little run, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, at South Alabama, he's had success. Went into Stillwater and upset Oklahoma State, who ended up being the runner-up in the Big 12. So, man, it ain't like he was about to get fired at South Alabama, and yet he comes to Alabama to be the defense coordinator. I think it's a good move for him because he can probably parlay that later on into a big-time job, sort of like Jeff Lebby did at Oklahoma, right?
Yes. Hey, if you think about it, what's kind of crazy is that 2 years into BV's career, he's replacing his OC and his DC in the same year. Who'd have thought that shit? By the way, I see Jack Ackers now in the message link. I mean, the message board along with old Becca Has Thoughts. She's already cracking up at something. Jonathan has actually requested that you send him the link. Now, I think as much as I love college football with Jonathan Lewis, I think we really need to sit here and talk about the pros and cons of sending Mr. Slippy Fingers the link, because it could go great. We could have a great time with him. Then, again, he could kick us off the air. But we don't know which one it's going to be.
If we start getting the best of him, he might unplug us, right?
He has the ability. He clearly did it before.
He don't need a link. See, what he ain't telling y'all is he don't need a link to come in here. All he's got to do.
No, he doesn't.
He's got administrative powers to this StreamYard, so he can come in here anytime he wants. That's why he did beat bopping down the road going 85 miles an hour.
I was just going to say, if him popping up from out of nowhere going down I-35 isn't proof positive that he don't need no damn link, I don't know what else is.
See, if he pops in here on the link on the phone, it'll kick us off again. That's why he's saying send him a link.
Oh, now I get it. Huh. So he needs us to do him a favor. I don't know. Are corn dogs known for doing favors for people? Is that something that they're known for? I mean,
Jeff Payton says, I still stand by my statement. Outlaw, my lady deserves a cameo appearance after knowing you for 34 years. What lady? You talking about Jonathan's lady? You're talking about your lady.
I'm confused.
We've never had a female guest on here. We've been trying to get Lori Brogdon to quit being scared. So she sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of herself today, and I put it up as a thumbnail. So we're getting close to having her on here.
It's disappointing that Lori won't bring the heat for a cameo. It doesn't have to be super long if you don't want it to be very long. You can just get on and get off.
Get on and get off. Sounds a little sexual.
I kind of thought about that after I said it, but too late. So,
get that saddle.
So, back to what I was saying. But if you want to stay on longer, you want to ride that pony a little longer.
That's right.
You do that too. It's up to you.
I'm going to bring something up for y'all real quick. Share screen. A little something here. Y'all see that? They're grading the first-year coaches, and of course they got – can you see that?
I can see it.
All right. Making sure. They're grading the first-year coaches in here, and they got Deion Sanders on the pick of obviously. And everybody's still straight up his ass. I don't get it, man. I don't understand why everybody thinks this guy's so great, man.
I don't know, man. It's so disappointing. I mean,
Says
it's
Arizona.
it's not just limited to one person or one group. It
says there that Arizona hired
everyone.
San Jose State's coach, Brennan. Brent Brennan, is that his name? They hired the San Jose State coach. Now, so they're going to come in here and cry about somebody taking their coach, and they're going to try and take somebody else's coach. So that's what I'm talking about. People, unless a team goes out and just gets a coordinator like Oklahoma did, you can't really accuse them of hurting your program or stealing your coach when everybody else is doing it. When you're doing it, you're doing the same thing. I mean, it's just like Washington took Kalen DeBoer off of Fresno State. So what's the big deal? I mean, Fresno State players' feelings don't matter just as much.
No, it absolutely matters. Hey man, give me about 5 minutes. I need to handle something real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm gonna fix and bring Mike Wilkerson in anyway. Fix to bring y'all a guest in here. Mike Wilkerson is now in the house. Welcome in, Mike Wilkerson. Give us a rundown, brother. So tell us what your podcast is all about before we get started with you.
My podcast is a hodgepodge of Oklahoma Sooner history, some of its former players, coaches, and some nuggets that you might have forgot about.
So story time with the legend.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, but after the spring game, I'll have more up to date stuff on my pod. So, we got this lull right now with college football, so I'm that's why I'm doing this right now. And that's why I was late coming in, because I was getting out of video for the years.
Basically, we've been here talking about the Jim Harbaugh situation, as well as Alabama filling out its roster with head coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama, just like I said earlier, let me get this off of here real quick. I got Rocky Balboa in here, and he's telling everybody that, Alabama's taking hey, yo, Alabama's taking everybody's shit. We ain't just taking Washington's. We took South Alabama's head coach. And then now we're probably going to take Buffalo's head coach. But when you're
I've been
level like Alabama and you're a blue blood like Alabama and Oklahoma and stuff like that, you can't be mad at us because our fans are more passionate and our alumni base is willing to spend the money, Kenny.
That's right. That's right. I think Alabama's going to be in good shape next year with the Boar, or however you say his name. I don't see an issue with it. I think y'all got a pretty good head coach himself, Jesse.
Let me ask you something about Oklahoma real quick, because I was thinking about today.
Yeah.
If Oklahoma comes into the conference and they have a little bit of growing pains, and say they go 8-4 next year, I was telling Killer Breeze that I think Oklahoma could be a better team next year, but not win as many games, and it might be misleading in their progress just by going by win total alone. Well, will the Oklahoma fans start murmuring about that Brent Venables ain't the man if they go 8-4?
Yes, but I have been saying all season long, even after the Alamo Bowl, I've got the floor set at 8-4 for Oklahoma and 9-3 next year for the ceiling. We're going to have Jesse. You know as much about college football as I do, and I'm not going to sunshine pump or anything like that. If OU goes 8-4 next season, that'll be a good season for the first year in the SEC. And I see growing pains. I really do.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm like, y'all gonna have to be really patient, man. This is a situation. Brett Venables had to deal with so many unique situations that no other first-year head coach had to deal with.
Exactly.
No such thing as really NIL was still in its infancy. Nobody knew how to deal with it, not even Nick Saban. So you
exactly
first-year coach to be able to deal with that, plus your head coach going behind the scenes and undermining your program and that kind of shit. And now you're going into a brand new conference, really, and they haven't had to deal with that in quite some time. Now, I know they joined the Big 12 and they merged with the Southwest Conference, but it's really, you still really with most of your brethren.
right.
Now, in Texas are basically coming in alone, unless you count Texas A&M, which I don't. But
I don't either.
That damn cult.
They are a cult down there. But this is how when Brent first got hired at Oklahoma, here was my approach. I said to myself, let's see what he does in recruiting in his 3 years. And is not as good as I know, Jesse, that Brent has had 3 top 10 classes since he's been here at Oklahoma. Now that's recruiting at a high level to me. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's a lot better than anybody could expect it. Everybody thought that they were going to be gone, like Colin Cowturd. Speaking of Colin, I just thought of something. You know what? We took his coach. That was his alma mater. We took his shit. Man, damn, that really sucks for Colin, don't it? I've been grilling his ass for the last couple of years. Him and Linky Boy been grilling them about the whole Oklahoma situation. Now I get to make fun of him because we took his shit, right?
Yeah, he's doing some backpedaling. He's doing some backpedaling on Baker Mayfield too, because if you remember, he's been hard on Baker. So
I'm gonna bring something up real quick. This might be a little out of your wheelhouse, but you might be able to help me comment on this.
Bring it up, Jesse. Bring it up.
All right, this is what I'm sharing. Can you see that?
It's still buffering on. I can barely see it, Jesse. I'm on my cell phone. Kind of describe it to me.
All right, well, I'll just describe it to y'all but what this is Caleb Downs' Twitter. And Caleb Downs, as you know, is probably going to be one of the best safeties in college football before it's all said and done. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
I mean, from what he done his freshman year, he's named to the freshman all freshman team this year. But it seems that he might be entering the transfer portal. Now it's not official yet. He hasn't made it official. He's supposed to do it today, but he hasn't come out and said anything, from what I understand. But here is a tweet from Caleb Downs that says "No lies detected," and he's responding to a guy that's a Georgia guy, saying that Georgia's stock is up and Alabama's is down when it comes to Caleb Downs. So
Mm.
there's no lies detected. Maybe he's agreeing with the fact that he's going to Georgia. What do you think?
Sounds like it to me, but there again, I'm not. That's out of my league right there, Jesse. I'm not going to sway one way or another.
Yeah, that's what Ben Killer was talking about, man. These players being able to just transfer every year. You know, I used to be a supporter of them being able to transfer out because coaches just up and leave all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're getting paid. Now they're getting paid. So they're getting paid, and they're like, well, that's from their NIL, not the university. Yeah. Come on, man. Let's be honest. Without those universities, they don't have an NIL that makes them famous enough to get that money. So the universities are absolutely responsible for them having that money, in my opinion.
That's right.
So show a little gratitude, man. Make them sign contracts. Is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make them sign contracts, man. The NCAA needs to get out of the way and allow these players to sign contracts and be employees. What do you think?
I'm for it. I'm all for it. I've been quiet about it, but thinking to myself, I think they ought to be allowed to sign a contract.
You know, like I said, I used to be all for them setting out the bowl games because they weren't getting paid.
Exactly.
But now they're getting paid, man. How are you going to take that money and get that NIL money that the university really is the one that provided it for you? And then at the end of the year, you're not going to stay there and fight the last battle with your brothers?
That's right.
It's just like, I know Dylan Gabriel left. Why did he do that, man? Why didn't he stay out? Why didn't he just stay that one last game, Dylan Gabriel?
That's beyond me, Jesse. From what I heard from the rumblings around the university, he stepped out because he wanted to hand the reins over to Jackson Arnold, and that's all I know.
Well, Johnny John seems to be very realistic as far as Oklahoma fans go. He says if he's being honest, he thinks 8 or 9 wins wouldn't be a total shock with a new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new conference, new. Oklahoma fans need to be patient with Brent this coming year.
I've been saying this all season long with my friends, personal friends, and people that I know through course and discourse, that 2025 you're probably going to see Oklahoma. That's going to be their breakout year. If
Oklahoma proves me wrong and they win 10, 11 games, then hey, that's just bonus, man.
Exactly. And Jesse, you've known me long enough to know that I've been a fan of Oklahoma since the early 70s. If Oklahoma wins 10 or 11 games next year, will it surprise me? No, because I've seen Oklahoma's always surprised me in it, where games they should have lost that they won. So, but I'm just being realistic going into a new conference. I guess what I'm trying to say, Jesse, is I'm not setting my expectation level to a high bar. And that's why I come up with the 8-4 floor and 9-3 ceiling.
Jeff Payton makes a good point. Jeff Payton says the NCAA won't allow that any more than they will let Northwestern unionize. Well, here's the thing, Jeff. The NCAA may not allow it. But what you do is you basically get a group of colleges together, the entire Division I of college football, and secede from the NCAA and form your own governing body and say to hell with it. If they're not going to do what they're supposed to do and stop being trivial and punishing Florida State for giving money for a bus ticket to a recruit and then turn around and let Michigan just do whatever the hell they want, they're not consistent, man. They punish people unfairly, and it's just they just need to go, man. They need to do away with the NCAA.
Yeah. Oh God, that's another rabbit hole about the NCAA.
Now, earlier I was talking about Jim Harbaugh. I'm going to ask you about this too, since I asked
Yeah.
you. Boys. I was reading an article where it basically said that Jim Harbaugh said he would come back to Michigan if they give him a clause in his contract that said he had immunization. He was immune to getting fired for any NCAA sanctions.
Wow.
He wants that in his contract. Does that not sound like somebody that's guilty?
Guilty.
And dude thinks he's above the law, man.
Yep. If I was the powers that be at Michigan, I'd say, well, if you want that in your contract, bye, Felicia.
Boy, Brogdon said that they're getting a buzzing from you or something. Not sure.
I have a on my cell phone where I plug my help. I've traced it. I don't know if the connection is bad in there or what, but sometimes I'll buzz. I just took my headphones off. Screw it. They're hurting my ears anyway.
All right. I didn't know you was really buzzing. I really couldn't tell, but obviously they can tell better because they're in the gallery listening. But Jack Acker says it's a good thing that Dylan Gabriel stepped aside for JA so that JA could get his first career start at the tail end of the season rather than right at the beginning of a new one. Yeah, it could have been a good learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just wish you hadn't had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, and there again, Jesse. That minus the turnovers, Jackson played like a true freshman. I mean, it's at the end of the season, even though it's the Alamo Bowl, it's a major game, and it's more or less getting thrown to the wolves, if you will. But he had some flashes in that game. He really did.
Yeah,
I like what I saw from Jackson.
Real nice long ball that he completed for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, he's finally got him a full game under his belt that he can go back and watch, and he can critique himself and get better at. And I'm sure with Seth Luttrell and the guys they'll have him prepped for next season.
They said you're still buzzing, brother.
I don't know what the hell. I unplugged my headphones and I did everything.
Maybe come back out and come back in.
Okay.
All right.
I'll leave the chat and I'll come back in. I'll come back in, brother.
All right. Anytime someone's buzzing like that and it's not good for y'all to listen to, just let me know. Don't be shy, just like Lori did. I'll be more than glad to make sure it's taken care of. If we can't get it corrected, then they'll have to come back on the show some other time because I want y'all to be able to enjoy the podcast without it hurting you and whatnot. Sounds like Mike is echoing. And once again, I apologize for that. Yeah, you're probably right, Becca. If the phone was sitting on the table, probably. Hey, brother, I had to let Mike go for a second. I mean, they said he was buzzing pretty bad. Anytime he's buzzing pretty bad and I can't hear it, y'all let me know, man. Because what that does when people tune in and they hear that kind of stuff, they won't want to watch. If you got
I get it.
If you got bad quality audio, they're more than likely going to turn you off. So I hate that it took that long to know. I wish next time y'all tell me right out the gate. Don't be afraid to hurt my feelings, Killer Bree's feelings, or Mike's feelings. Just let us know if something's going on so we can make this a lot better for y'all.
For sure. I always want to know. Killer Breeze starts freezing up. You got to tell that son bitch, get your internet right, man.
Yeah, it's just a trial and error thing with us. We were all sort of new to this StreamYard stuff, so Killer Breeze brought the Sooner Mutt with him.
That's right.
His good luck charm.
He's right. He's chilling. So what were y'all talking about?
We was talking about numerous things about the fact that the NCAA needs to go away. Jeff was talking about the NCAA is not going to give in to these players being put under contract. And I said, well, if they ain't going to give in, then they need to go away. Let's just do away with them. Let's just secede from the NCAA. Say the hell with them.
Yeah. Thunder OU Sooner is asking me what my dog's name is. My dog's name is Archie, and he is named after the Saints, the New Orleans Saints' first superstar player, which was Archie Manning.
Jack Acker says, does anyone still think Caleb Williams is the real number one draft pick? His backup, Miller Moss, seemed to play way better, whereas Caleb Williams, let's get his name right, though. His real name
Mary Caleb.
Mary Caleb Williams Fingernails. That's right.
Mary Caleb.
Oh, Mary Caleb Williams Fingernails. He doesn't think he will have won against a ranked team this last season, or did he? I think Arizona was ranked. They beat Arizona, but Arizona wasn't ranked when they beat them, though. You're right. I don't know where he's going in the draft. What do you think, Breeze?
Unless you are a huge USC homer, I don't know how you can't have questions about Caleb Williams, Mary Caleb Williams at this point. His emotional maturity, his mental toughness, all of that should come into question. And man, if you're spending a number one pick on someone, I just wouldn't want to have those questions. So, considering that everybody says Drake May is pretty damn close to Caleb's skill sets. I mean, I think everybody recognizes that Caleb's got some incredible skill sets. He can run the ball well. He's got an arm. He's a playmaker. But it sounds like May has a lot of people think he's pretty damn good himself. So I probably don't risk it on the questions. But, could turn out to be a generational quarterback. I mean, he does have that talent level, skill set wise.
Yeah,
what do you think?
His shit together, man. I'm afraid he's going to have a mental breakdown or something like Vince Young did. Vince Young just lost his shit because people were making fun of him on the sidelines and the stands. And I'm like, man, you got to put up with that. If you can't put up with that kind of shit, you're not going to make it in the NFL, man. Because they're going to talk shit to you, and then the players on the opposite side of the field, they're going to see that shit, and they're going to talk shit to you. So,
I mean, man, can you honestly see Caleb Williams handling? What if he goes to a big media market team and they start losing? You think he's going to be able to handle the kind of scrutiny he gets from the press without having a meltdown or throwing some little fit? I mean, keep in mind, they protected him from the hard questions this year. He's not going to have that anymore. So, you got to ask yourself those kinds of questions. What if if he's on a team that's not winning right away, how's he going to handle that? Because he hasn't really shown that he can handle that.
Thunder OU says that he doesn't want to go. He does not want to be drafted to the Bears. That's another thing is he thinks he gets to dictate stuff, man. He's talking about part ownership in a team and stuff.
Ridiculous. He's never going to get ownership. No player is going to get ownership of a team. That's not going to happen.
Becca has thoughts. Is in the house. She's got her badge. She's deputized. She's in the outlaw posse. And she says, Jeff Payton, no doubt it's going to be more challenging for Oklahoma. I'm assuming she's talking about I'm looking forward to seeing OU grow and be more competitive. I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing, but I 1,000% believe we can do it. Well, it's just like I try to tell people with Alabama and Nick Saban retiring, we might dip a few times throughout history, but we always re-rise to the top, and that's just like with Oklahoma. Same thing. They've won in every conference they've been in. They won in the Big 8. They won in the Big 12. They'll win in the SEC eventually. It may not be this year, but they will eventually win. And they'll probably win an SEC title and play for a national title. There's so many teams in the SEC now that are football powerhouses that it's just going to be hard, man. That's why I was a big proponent of the SEC going out and adding different kinds of sports powerhouses instead of just piling up on football, because somebody's going to have to lose. Everybody can win. So why not go out and get Kansas or Duke or North Carolina and try to build your basketball brand up a little bit?
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure.
Big Cojones Kelly's in the house for a $2 donation.
I was about to say, the coon ass is in the house.
The LSU coon ass is here.
Hold on 1 second.
All right, Killer Breeze had to go take care of a few things. Yes, Ryan's in the house. Finally, Ryan Thibodeau has come back to the Outlaw Posse. By the way, if you want to get your badge like Big Cojones Kelly, Jeff Payton, Fred Bagley, among others, is in here. Becca Has Thoughts, Jack Acker. You want to get your badge and get deputized and get a random Four Horseman shout out like Fred Bagley and those others did earlier today? It's just $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You get your badge, you'll be deputized. You get that random Four Horseman shout out as I promised, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Now, if you're on an Apple phone, you might have to go to your laptop or your computer because it doesn't mesh with YouTube memberships. Jack Acker says, hey, Outlaw, is Kalen DeBoer keeping Jalen Milroe? I wouldn't be surprised if KB wants to replicate his high-flying offense. That's a good question, Jack. Jalen Milroe doesn't really play into the kind of offensive philosophy that Kalen DeBoer has had in the past, is what a lot of people tell me. I haven't really sat down and watched Kalen DeBoer ad nauseum, but if Jalen Milroe's not the guy, we do have Julian Sayin coming in from California, who's supposed to be the next Bryce Young here. Hate saying the next anything because it puts a lot of undue pressure on these young men. I don't call them kids because they're not kids. I call them kids that enables them to do bad shit, in my opinion. So I call them young men. If you can vote for the president and you can serve in the military and fight in a war and kill people, then you're not a kid. You're a young man. But Julian Sayin, Ty Simpson, who's still here, Dylan Lonergan, those three guys may have a better opportunity to start this year. It may be an open quarterback competition this spring. A lot of people think that Milroe will win it by default, but we shall see. If Milroe, for some reason, gets benched, I absolutely think Jalen Milroe would more than likely transfer out. What do y'all think? I got an amen from David Orwig. Amen in the house. Amen, Roll Tide, Boomer Sooner, all that good shit. Killer Breeze is roaming aimlessly around the house. I think he might be looking for his corn dog delivery.
No, dude, I got water pressure problems, man. We got this damn hard freeze going on. And I'm trying to run between my bathroom sink and my kitchen sink to make sure these damn pipes don't freeze up.
You got a hard what?
RV problems, man. RV problems.
You got hard problems.
No, I don't have those problems. Know what I'm saying?
Becca Has Thought says, Jeff Payton, the entire time in the Big 12 and Big 8, no one laid down for us. Every team we've played has circled us on their calendar, just like Bama. Beating OU is a primary goal for their season. That's the price of being a blue blood. And that's why I said, man, I just think this conference is getting too heavy on the football powers. I mean, it might be too late.
It could be.
And my team could get pushed down. You know, we could get pushed down a notch, especially with the new coaching staff and whatnot. It's not entirely unheard of that you struggle a bit. But the thing that's got me hopeful with Kalen DeBoer is everywhere he's won pretty fast. He won 3 national titles at the NAIA level, which I would argue is actually pretty hard considering you don't have scholarship players, right? You don't have scholarship players at Division III or NAIA.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to build a program like that without scholarship players, I mean, that's probably just as hard, right?
It is. It is, man. It's no different. I mean, it's different, but it's equally difficult. Come here.
Fred Bagley says DeBoer will be fine. Don't kid yourself. Saban will still be around. I'll bet he still has an office at the complex, just like Bob has. Yeah, actually, Nick Saban spoke to that. He said he actually does have an office. I think one at Bryant-Denny Stadium that they've cleared out for him or something.
Yeah.
So he'll still be there. And Kalen DeBoer referenced that in his introductory press conference, talking about he would be a fool not to go down there to that office for a
Oh, my God.
He's like, I'm sure Coach will come to my office and give me a pointer. He said, more than likely, he'll give me 10 pointers. And everybody just died laughing because Nick Saban more than likely will. Hopefully, he don't meddle too much like Phil Fulmer, and more along the lines like you said, Fred, and it's more of a Bob Stoops kind of thing.
No, I don't. I was just about to say, I don't think it'll be anything like that. But I also think that Nick Saban is going to protect what he built. So he's not going to – I do think if he sees things going astray, I wouldn't be surprised if he said something, And I'm sure he'd do it in a diplomatic way that didn't ruffle feathers as badly as it would otherwise, but –
well, I can tell you this also.
When you build up a mansion like that, you're not going to let the next guy come in after you and start.
Saban strikes me as a guy that would probably take up for Kalen if people started trashing on him too.
Oh, 100%.
I don't see him being the Phil Fulmer type or the Lloyd Carr type. Lloyd Carr at Michigan, when he got pushed out because of that Appalachian State loss, people can say what they want to say. Now, I know Michigan righted their season a little bit and ended up going 9-3 and beat Florida in a bowl game. But when he lost to Appalachian State as a top 5 school, they was ranked in the top 5 when that shit happened. It absolutely, in my opinion, cost him his job, and he was a little bitter about it. When they brought Rich Rodriguez in, I don't think Lloyd Carr did him any favors.
No, I think that's right. I agree with that.
Everybody talks bad about Rich Rod, but he was really good at West Virginia, and he's been really good at Jacksonville State. So,
yeah. Well, I don't think his guy is obviously a good coach, but things went bad, and it just got worse just got worse and worse. So it didn't work out, man. That happens, Coaches have been rehabbed, most notably at the Nick Saban Rehabilitation Clinic down in Tuscaloosa, where he's taken in many coaches that have gone astray.
Well, I heard that Alex Grinch was applying for the Saban car wash, and he went down there and the car wash was closed, man. So car wash for Alex Grinch. No saving Alex Grinch. Your ass is done. And maybe Kalen DeBoer, you can call him and maybe he'll get you a reference for Sioux Falls Community College, and you can go and coach where he coached and start from the bottom like he did. Jackass. Lincoln Riley would probably be a good candidate for the Saban car wash if it was still open, but unfortunately, that's not going to be there for Linky Boy either when he gets his ass fired in a couple of years.
I'm so looking forward to seeing what they do next year in the Big Ten and what that team does on defense, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous that USC fans are anointing this staff as the best defensive staff ever, as the best collection of talent, and just assuming that means that even if those guys are as good as they think, that just automatically means that they're all going to work well together and all the players are going to live up to expectations and they're going to be great right away, which anyone that's watched, hell, any sport for any length of time knows that you might want to wait until you see the product on the field or on the court or on the or whatever the hell you're competing on before you start anointing them one thing or the other, because you never know until you see it come together.
Now, if y'all want to get your comment pushed to the top so me and Killer Breeze can read it out, there's a little money $sign at the bottom, circled. Click that. Then after you click that, write your comment out before you click it twice, because it'll send it blank if you don't. Click that little money $sign, write your comment out, then click again and send it. It'll highlight it and push it to the top, and we'll read it out above the others.
That's right, Mark Hampton. They'll be. I don't think anything is guaranteed with that team next year, and I don't think Riley deals well with adversity. I think that's kind of been proven over the years, so especially this year. So I have no reason to believe that he's going to do well. I mean, what is USC going into the Big Ten next year? The 6th best team, maybe? I mean, really?
Look, man, USCJ hears you talking that shit, man. He's going to come in one.
Let's go down the list. Is Michigan better than USC?
I think so.
All right. Is Ohio State better than USC?
Probably so.
What about Penn State?
Likely.
More than likely. But I get where you're coming from. What about Oregon?
Yeah. Oregon's better.
Okay.
Yeah. Washington,
Arizona. I mean, the two of those teams, we don't know what they're going to be, but what they were this year was better than. Well, Arizona's not in the Big Ten. What am I thinking about? But
they're Big 12.
But you still have teams like I'm not convinced that they're going to be better than Wisconsin. Or what about what Matt Rule's doing with Nebraska? Are they going to be better than that?
Yeah, I think Nebraska might be on the rise. And Iowa, if you can score on them, you can beat them. But there's no guarantee you're going to score anything on Iowa. So
100%.
And off and on, Minnesota's rather good.
They could be as low as 7 or 8. I mean, that's possible. So, and you just think they're just going to automatically start coming together as a defense and gelling in 1 year when they're having to go on the road in the wintertime across the country to play in the Big Ten? Like, I don't see it, man.
Big Cojones Kelly has his badge. He says Bama isn't going to be raiding Louisiana for recruits as much as they did under Saban. Probably not. Saban had a lot of connections in Louisiana from his time at coaching the Tigers. Those Bayou Bengals.
Well, that's the thing. That's the bummer for Alabama, is that even if Kalen DeBoer ends up being as good as Saban, which is highly unlikely, it still takes a while to build what Saban built, you know? So it's just cool having the best coach ever to be coaching your team. I mean, that just sucks that he's. And it sucks. I'm disappointed too, man. I wanted Nick Saban to be on the other sideline when we played Alabama. I was looking forward to. That was one of the things I was excited about when it came to the new matchups and some of the great games we were going to see with OU and Texas going to the SEC. And now playing Alabama is going to be – it's still Alabama, but it's not Nick Saban Alabama.
And you see that? Probably barely.
It's hard for me to see.
Yeah, this is the first year coaches. If anybody throws a donation, let me know. First year coaches this year, they graded them on CBS. They got Kenny Dillingham of Arizona State. They graded him a C+. Since you can't really see it, I'm gonna ask you what you think.
I see it. I can see it. I can kind of see it now.
Okay. Auburn for Hugh Freeze, they give him a C-.
C-.
Cincinnati Scott Satterfield, they give a D. They went 3-9 this year. There we go. There's Ocon time. They give him a C+. And he went 4-8.
C+.
How is it he got a C+, and you scroll down here and you see Zach Arnett, who went 4-6, had less losses, and probably a harder place to win in Mississippi State. They give him an F, but you give Dion a C+ for 4-8?
I don't get it.
I mean, Zach Arnett was coming in a pretty bad situation with Mike Leach dying, right? It seems to me like maybe Zach Arnett done a better job than Contime. What do you think? The killer, we done lost the killer, huh? Done lost the killer. All right. Let me get back in here to it for y'all. But, yeah, I think that Zach Arnett, I could see it if they had him as a D or C-, or put Dion down to a D to be a little closer. But how are you going to give him a C+ and they both had the same amount of wins and Dion had more losses? Georgia Tech's Brent Key was rated a B+ with a 7-6 record. Louisville's Jeff Braun went 10-4. They give him an A. Nebraska's Matt Rule went 5-7. They give him a B- for that. Not really understanding that one either. I want to give him a B-, maybe a C-. Purdue's Ryan Waters was 4-8. They give him a C-. Stanford's Troy Taylor got a C+ going 3-9. Really? But y'all give Zach Arnett an F. And he had more wins than Troy Taylor. And he was coming into a much more strenuous situation with Mike Leach dying. Then you have Luke Fickle, who went 7-6. They give him a C. Y'all agree with all that? Big Cojones Kelly with a $2 donation. I just tried to add you back, Killer Breeze, but it would not let me. Do y'all agree with those grades that they give the coaches? Because I don't agree with some of them. Big Cojones Kelly with a $2 donation says like, share, subscribe, and add, multiply. That's definitely right. Hello, Outlaw from the Godfather of the SEC. Fred Bagley says con time. I'm assuming you was trying to say con time instead of continue. Con time, Deion Sanders gets an F, says Fred Bagley. Now, I don't understand how they can give Zach Arnett an F at 4-6 and con time gets a C+ for a 4-8. I don't get that, man. If they had been sort of closer and they had Deion just ranked a little bit ahead, like maybe Deion was a D+ and Zach was a D-, I can understand. That's just them up his ass, man. They straight stay up con time Deion Sanders' ass all the damn time, man. And the guy's not that great, man. He's not that great. And they're going to see next year when his ass goes 3-9 next year. He might get back to 4 wins. I don't know. Jeff Payton says, hey, Outlaw, you know that the escorts that Hugh Freeze called with the Ole Miss cell phone also give him a C-. That's pretty good, Jeff. That's a pretty good shot right there, my brother. I agree. Arnett was in a no-win situation. All right. Y'all got any comments or y'all got any questions before I get up out of here? Just click the little money dollar sign at the bottom like Big Honeys Kelly did and Heath Stokes did earlier. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send on the second click. It'll highlight and push to the top, and I can read it out and answer your question a lot quicker. Sheldon Lamey's in the house. As always, he's a late bloomer. No, it don't work, Fred Bagley. It don't work at all. All right, brothers and sisters, been fun hanging out with y'all tonight. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. I hope y'all enjoyed that thumbnail for sure. It's probably going to get me in trouble. Might end up getting limited ads on my show because of that, but I figured y'all would like that. Since, Mary Caroline or Lori, not sure who sent it, but one of those two, more than likely, they're the culprits that sent me that thumbnail. But with that, if you don't mind, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and share me to your friends. Sharing really helps. Sharing is caring. With that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.